is a good thing that I was reading the people on YouTube. They were saying, "Where am I?" And I'm having this big talk, this big conversation, and didn't go live on there. But yeah, let me repeat that. The date is September 19, 2024, and we will be talking about morality, reality, smoke screens, red herring, ad hominem, all of the fallacies and tools that people use to not stick to the real issues at hand. And we will find out if the reputation of Jamaica remains intact, regardless of the internal self-destruction that takes place. Again, if you're joining me on Reggae Global Radio or Reggae Global TV, you know what to do. It's our flagship station, and I'm happy to be a part of the wonderful team over there at Reggae Global Radio. Also tuned in live from TikTok. Tap up the screen, share the live, send the lion them roar, you know, all them something. Earlier I hear Andre say, hey, me not getting a lion. Me always get lion, tigers, and bears, so keep doing that. Easy upon the meows. Now, for the YouTube people, I'm glad to see that you guys are here early, and we're having a conversation, and this conversation is for us, by us, and how to deal with each other, deal with empathy, compassion, respect, and having conversations without using this political loyalty that destroys the fabric of morality. That's the reality. There's a lot of people who you will be embarrassed to know that they hold high office, and because of political loyalty, their integrity is compromised because of the positions that they take right before your faces. Now, even that is what we are going to contextualize. So remember, context matters. Play nice, and just might not be happy with the position I take in terms of the way forward. But we'll see, and we'll have a conversation. But just know that when it comes to freedom of expression, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So I'm setting the rules now, because when, for some strange reason, when any time myself, Mr. Will Rattigan from the Will Rattigan Show, and Andre Stevens are on one platform, I promise you, it is magical because of the mental aptitude that is at play. But the different views is what is important. So I'm trying to set the groundwork to know that defamation is a serious thing. I've seen it happen a lot this week, from Sunday to today. I'm going to tell people to proceed with caution when having the discussions. And emotional intelligence is not something that is given to every single person. And while it is that we are a part of North America, and our brothers and sisters in the first world countries, that America, the greatest country, certainly in the Western Hemisphere, that deals with free speech and freedom of expression, and you're allowed to say anything you want about their leaders, including that they're old, they have orange hair, they have dementia, they should resign, and the cackling laugh, and whatever you have to say, and you're allowed to say it. That's as a little bit different in the Jamaican space, because Animal Farm reigns supreme. And we see it play out all the time in terms of how the conversation about being rid of our colonial masters, yet those who are left behind want to be in the shoes of the colonial masters. And some of them are not even of the pedigree or the genetic disposition to take the positions that they take. But that's a whole nother conversation. What I want us to do is to try to put things in context, try to understand what the issues are. Do not be misguided, do not be misled, but most importantly, see where the respect lies, and allow that persons can walk away with human dignity, pride, integrity, probity. I'm going to reserve honesty given the tone of the discussion that we're going to have, and it's a matter for you. But as a man of God, I always say, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And as we continue to investigate, navigate the space, especially in a politically charged environment, we are literally on the countdown to a general election, and what that means for the future of our country and the moving pieces as we progress as a nation. It is the decision between betterment for the people or betterment for Jamaica itself and not necessarily the people. It's a conversation that we have to have, and who leads the ship, we will see. Somebody said, I said, always remember Donna Thompson, love you. I love you too, Donna Thompson. I appreciate you as well. All right. The next thing I want to also state categorically is that we are always, hold on, we are always to be mindful that there are people with families. So even old people have parents still alive who, what parent or what father who isn't proud that their son can walk among the finest men and women? They have brothers, sisters, and most importantly, children, the next generation that have to deal with the next generation. And so, how we navigate, there are the children and young people who are watching that they will take away and put in context, or sometimes take out of context the things that are important. But there's greatness in all of us, and what cannot be denied, I promise you when I tell you this, what cannot be denied is the fact that I start here, so every nigga is a star. Quoting Manly Augustus, Big Youth Buchanan, every nigga is a star. So if you was born in Jamaica, you're born for greatness. You are a star in your own right. Nobody know more than you. So as we navigate this conversation, remember the Integrity Commission drops a bombshell report, and not long after that, there's a bomb threat at the Prime Minister's house, and what follows from that is the smoke screen that comes from it. And I will define that as well. So fret not thyself, because what is happening here is we are going to have an understanding where we live when we leave here, because it makes a difference, and one cannot deny that. um East Portland, what's this talk of East Portland? That's a nice place, you know. I know the Blue Lagoon. If you know anything about the Blue Lagoon in East Portland, you know what going on. But we soon talk about that. I keep hearing this thing, and I know East Portland is a that's so nice. But we have to talk about that. So yeah, we're gonna start the show right now. I think my ADD kicking on, but let's go. Here we go.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. So I just have to say a special big up in a KK with the AK. I seen you a lot on my timeline. You know what's going on. Zeus Bernard over on TikTok. Big up yourself. Raul Cunningham. I see you one day. One day I see you as well. Big up yourself. Cash pot results. Okay, that was promotion, and they need for send me some ticket and play. I don't even know how the number of them go. Big up on yourself. Jam Caramel, I see you. Lorna Emery, I see you over there on YouTube. Select a Princess. Vote. Shamel Cut Kelvin. Vote. Joel Vase. Carol Banton laughing. Sample Girl is here. Explore the world. Blessings to you. Sonia Pink. Joycelyn Williams. Beverly. African Newbie. David Gunning. Petro Youth. The empty vessel. Them say empty barrels make the most noise, you know, but empty vessels pick up oil. So I mean, I have nothing to say about you. Donna Thompson, you said you love me earlier. Do you still love me? Do you love me, baby? Andreen Welch, Capricorn Ingenuous. Well, okay. Shamel, listen, when you can't just have some nice name like Don and Patsy, and Selbert and Seabert. Well, I don't know all these. What's all of this? Yes, yes, I see you. That's that conversation. All right. So as I said earlier, I really wanted to ensure that as we try to define some of these s- some of these, I want to say, rules. So a fallacy is usually these are usually some, what I'd like to call, when things must be logical. So you can either induce or deduce when you're having conversations with people. It's almost rules of engagement, rules of argument. So what's happening right now is the red herring. Let me give you for example. And this might sound in the political space right now. There's this big laughter about 1 foot of clocks. And why is that? Because the Minister of Finance is slated to. He got a big job. He's a son of Jamaica. We're happy for him, and he's leaving. But what comes from that is you'll see, like in the newspaper, they draw the clerks and they highlight 1 foot more than the next because obviously they're saying one is missing. I don't know if that's what Last Maze was doing, but big up yourself. So the red herring, for example, now an argument against raising salaries might go something like this: we can't raise salaries, but we still provide great benefits for our employees. Well, this argument is a red herring because the mention of employee benefits distracts from the real point that salaries will not be raised. So let me put that in context now. The you know what? Let me leave that one alone. I'm gonna wait till my guests them come. So I do. So that's a good one. So here's another one of a red herring. So the it what the red herring really is, and I've had this on my program before, but I always invite you guys to go watch it. If you are watching all of them, you'd be up to date by now. But here's one. It says, so the red herring fallacy it consists in diverting attention from the real issue by focusing instead on an issue having only a surface relevance to the first. So example, son, wow, dad, it's really hard to make a living on my salary. Father, consider yourself lucky, son. Why? When I was your age, I only made 40 a week. And therefore, it sets into a comparison. So let me give you, for example, in the moral argument, there's a conversation about the illicit aid. Prime Minister was asked, have you heard the reporters? Because we have some really good reporters, they ask really good questions like, are you a part of the illicit aid? Is anybody in your cabinet a part of the illicit aid? Is anybody in your government a part of the illicit aid? And then you go so, you sit back, you flare your nose, and you say, no. I've asked far and I've asked wide. No. All right. Then I see bombshell. There's some talk and there's some chatter about illicit enrichment. But notice, you have to read the whole thing to get the full context. So a lot of thing is left unanswered. Are you worried about illicit enrichment, or is it simpliciter that the Prime Minister's statutory declaration just simply cannot be certified? What are the implications of that? Why am I even talking about this? So here comes the red herring. I'm watching a conference today, and the sheriff, one thing about the sheriff, I don't know what, but them say Bob Marley say him shoot the sheriff, but never shoot the deputy. Well, there's one sheriff in town that any chance him get, him put on him clothes, him orange garment, and him lean back and him say, pack your bags, put up your bangerangs, even if you never did come with nothing, pack it up. We never ask you about it, and go. I'm not calling any names, but if you don't know that, if you don't know nothing about the one sheriff who's never been shot, can't help you right there. So anyway, pack your bags and go. And before that, it's the report, the Integrity Commission bombshell, and people are saying, well, we think it did not gonna be bad, it's not so bad. That's one side. But here comes the red herring. There is a bomb threat. And then people say, oh, you see it? The other side, they put a bomb threat and everybody's in danger. How could you be so wicked? And then the other political commentators, why is the other one saying something? Because they put a dancehall artist on the stage. It's so distasteful. And him have one lawyer. It's an embarrassment. And they said that these are the things that are said. And what does that amount to? It's a red herring because it does not change the fact that the declarations cannot be certified. It doesn't change the fact that there are some moral issues to be answered. So if we are to deal with the distractions known as fallacies, including ad hominem, how do you equate by when the next prime minister of Jamaica, the honorable, let me call him that from now, the leader of opposition, Marky G, when he says, listen, we have to weed out corruption. We have to strengthen the Integrity Commission. We have to ensure that we don't wait any time, no little bit of time as them investigate, as them give you the report, it drop whether you like it or not. And you say, yeah, yeah, stop worry about the whether there's certification. Then here's somebody because obviously they don't really know anything in the political sphere, but they have a keyboard. Hear them. Oh, renounce your citizenship yet. Why does a British man want to run Jamaica? These are red herring and it has nothing to do with it. And that's why the sheriff said, listen, just pack up your bag because we can't embarrass Jamaica. That's the sheriff. So the next question is that a sufficient response to the realities? Because I'm a constitutional lover. I love the Constitution. I respect the Constitution as the dawn of all dawns. And for some strange reason, due process says you're afforded a fair trial within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial jury, right, of your peers. Should you so decide, jury access, you can opt out of it and pick trial by judge alone. And you can sign that, but you can withdraw consent at any time. So they can bad you up and force you to go to trial. And your accusers are to refrain from passing judgment until the competent court, if it ever gets there, um, finds you guilty. And that conviction remains because there are circumstances where people gamble and tamper with evidence because them are wicked and we know. And they have you do time and then you fight for your freedom and your life and your family and you are restored. And then you have people, not the brightest set of people, but they're commentators and some of them are lawyers, not criminal lawyers, and they don't read the Constitution or anything like that, and they make Twitter posts like you were convicted, and so you're of whatever you shouldn't be in spaces or be allowed to walk among the greats or the greats. I've even heard one person say, "Oh, I can't believe it." They get a whole platform on a stage to say, I can't believe it. The PNP has managed to bring that lawyer on the stage with his client. And it's an embarrassment and it's a disgrace because, and they talk about the lawyer's conviction. That lawyer and him have him always in the space. I don't know why so much people don't like him. Anyway, and he goes on a moral turpitude to gain relevance. And the same station that he's on, Radam, Digital, Rising Stars, Guest Judge, on the same station that pays you. Lo and behold, I wonder if you going to disassociate yourself from the station that pays you and deprive yourself of a salary that you probably need, or are you going to shut off your moral compass and say and try to justify it with all the fallacies that come with it? These are things that we want to know. But in reality, the Constitution says you're afforded due process. The presumption of innocence reigns through. You're cloaked in the presumption of innocence. Section 69 for those persons who convictions are overturned, and you get a certificate of acquittal. That prize, so that when the internet lawyers say, yes, it's squash, but that no mean nothing. It no mean nothing, cause no acquittal. Even when you get the certificate of acquittal, them they have their emotional, moral standards, not with no basis in law. because they don't respect the laws of the land. So I'm going to invite people to respect the laws of the land. And I'm inviting before my guests, I'm putting the context in place that make sure that whatever you're doing is grounded in law, because I won't follow the moral hypocrites, the ones who say, yes, as a leader, when you're a leader and in certain spaces, there's certain things you can't do. You can't lie. You can't beat your wife with a chair. You can't be misogynistic and quote dancehall music, because the minute you do that and disrespect somebody, you should be removed. There's no space for liars and deceptors and wicked people with no moral compass, honesty, probity. And I call for the organizations to which they practice and earn a living to disbar them and destroy them and let them live on a government bank, because we in Jamaica believe in moral righteousness. So much so that even where our constitution allows dual citizenship, it is morally wrong to have it. And if you want to be prime minister, you should denounce. But of course, you can run for St. Anne with with your dual citizenship. But you can denounce it if you want, and you don't have to born here. But all I want to say to you is we are a moral compass, and the private sector and the PSOJ agrees, and the church agrees, and the relevant professional bodies agree, and they will suspend you and charge you and reduce you. But when it is a certain class of people, the rules will switch. So one wonders how to treat with that. Is it a moral question or a legal question? Well, to put in context, I will say to you, we are governed by the laws of this country. And if we respect the laws and we respect the Constitution, then the Constitution is for everybody, from the Prime Minister to the man who has no name, but the JCF will put his picture in government, in mother and father name, and turn him in, kill him first. That kind of disconnect. But what we need to do on the plane of morality is to understand that the mistakes of one doesn't spoil the whole bunch. And especially, I will say this now, there are persons with the highest unquestionable character, integrity, honesty, probity that walks in the halls of government on the green side. And equally, everything I said is repeated on the orange side. Like there's no question in my mind when it comes to the leader of opposition, tried, tested, proven from start to finish, grounded in law. So I've saw the utterances of the not so bright that speaks about trust funds and stuff like that, but grounded in law and honesty and probity. So the question now is, the leader of opposition, man of integrity, man of honesty, probity, fit for leadership. Can we say that for the prime minister? Well, I can answer that now rhetorically. It was a rhetorical question because his entire government stands behind him. So that is a matter for you. And that is the context that we will deal with this question. But as we are guided, all I will say is that I am guided by the Constitution. And I can tell you this, until the judges say it, for I am just a young lawyer that's learning. I am the least of the disciples. And I assure you, if anybody that's out there listening to me find me to be the dumbest, stupidest, most illiterate, insignificant attorney that walks Jamaica, it's an indictment on me and not my profession, for I am the least among them in terms of intellect, in terms of quality, in terms of pedigree, and all the things that you hear on the internet. But all I want you to do is to understand that whether you are an attorney or whether you are just a citizen of this country, you see, when the election time come and we're in that time, you vote coming like you're the Queen of England. Yeah? You're coming like you're the king himself. Let me not say the queen for make nobody think me I talk about dead people can vote. So let me put it there. The king, you are royalty. So even if you don't have no shoes by your foot and you don't have enough clocks and you can't call election, cause only 1 foot of clocks you have, try know this. Just get a little water, wash off your hand, make sure you have your ID and make sure you enumerate before September 30th because you see when them a come to you for you dip your hand, all if you don't know if you speak at the English yet and you speak proper patois, say, just make them know. And if your father didn't name you Seabird, Aloysius, Carrington, Kobe, Dexter, Cunanan, tell them to call all of the name them and put Esquire at the end of it. And I promise you, so you get the respect of your life. The issue of that though is that if we respect and love each other right through, we won't have that. We won't have the problem that we have in this society with moral turpitude. And you should see some of the people them. I could start by saying they should go to Arden Road and go see the dentist, Dr. Murray, before them start to run off them mouth. But I don't want nobody to cuss me at a minimum. If you're gonna talk like you're talking from your derriere, at least brush your teeth. Because we can smell the stench of lowness that comes from your mouth when it is not backed by anything. Not spiritually, emotionally, financially, economically. You're just existing with a keyboard and you've offered nothing to this society that would uplift your brothers and sisters. So every time somebody tears down a son or daughter of this country, that is what we should be questioning. Because a man is only as good as the great things he do and the last thing he do. But we need to revisit that and put it in context. So I have said a lot. I think I've said enough to give the governing people to rewind and call the people who actually know to use the technology to assist them to find out if I've said anything to offend the masses. But one thing I must tell you, um, I will not be the person that tell you who is hard to look at and who is not hard to look at, because one thing I know, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And every morning I lift up mine eyes unto the hills from when cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth, and he will not suffer thy foot to be moved. Because he that keepeth thee will not stumble, but behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither stumble nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the shade of thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, but the moon by night. So I'm going to say that the Lord will preserve me. So if you're not pleasing to the eyes, that's between you and who is beholding you. Because every macker have them stick a bush. And that me learn. So I'm responding to the people. And if those of you who don't know from the ungodly community, that was Psalms 121. And it's you always remember the chief musicians, a Psalm of David. And that king also was not without moral flaw, but he was still a man of God. And that's where we start. So as I see Mr. Rattigan and Mr. Andre Stevens from Partner Draw TV enters the platform, we will get the discussion going. I'm seeing that Mr. Rattigan is here, but his camera isn't on, so we'll await. Yeah, so you do understand that desperate times calls for desperate measures. So let me just put the what if moment before I have Mr. Rattigan join. What someone called in a death threat at the Prime Minister's house? Unacceptable, untenable, should never have happened. Um, and we must pause for concern because it has happened in schools, it has happened at government agencies, it has happened to disrupt and provide discomfort to families, communities, and it shouldn't be allowed because it wastes a lot of the resources of this country for for that to happen. So that's the what if. But when I was growing up, Chicken Little said that the sky was falling. And when the sky really did a fall, nobody listened. So I look over by the Gaza Strip, not the Gaza, the real one, and them the bombings coming like imagine going to buy some orange and some banana, some fruits for your sustenance, some dried pitted dates, and bomb under the one and you pick it up and you just lose a hand like hand replaceable. But these days I hear say stage show keep December 31st and you can sell hand, foot, kidney if you like, forget cabana. I don't know who would be selling and I don't know who would be buying, but big up yourself, Negos Aymar, because your videos are hilarious. But that's Chicken Little. The sky is falling. We don't play with the seriousness of stuff like that. And then what if the boy who cried wolf, did the wolf name him? Or and I always wondered if Little Red Riding Hood, if it's the same wolf, did name she and her granny and the boy who cried wolf. And I always wonder if they were always related because these are where the moral questions come in. So nursery rhymes, go back and think about them because we shouldn't play about these things. What I will say is I have never seen in my many years from a young boy who used to listen to the sheriff when he told one prime minister to pack his bags and go, and he actually did it. I'm going to say, but what could go so? But it went so. Yeah? Yeah. Big up yourself, Damien, because you teach the people them what could go so, and it sell off. And then the next thing is, boy, me hear him say it again this morning, but you see, the former prime minister, the Honorable Bruce Golding, is a man that has love for his country. Him love it so much that if you put certain things in a film cabinet, him gonna sell the whole cabinet or leave it, get an next smaddy. So it's a matter for you. You think about that, but that is certainly where we are. And without further ado, I would like to bring Mr. Will Rattigan onto the stage. Mr. Will Rattigan, how are you? And I see my next guest as well is here, Mr. Partner Draw TV, Audrey. Hold on, and the plan this is that a black shirt and a white shirt. Is this the devil and the angel and the blue Father, Son, and Holy Spirit? Is that what's going on? Look, then now talk no.
No,
Talk to
no,
me.
no,
What's
no,
going
no,
on?
no, 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 no. Good evening, everybody. Andre, big up yourself. Isaac, see you so. All of the people in the chat and the viewing audience, the day to talk up the things. So, Isaac, I don't know if you might describe me as a devil. You can tell me I want black or blue, and Andre I want white. I'm saying the devil and the angel. And I guess the blue is, I don't know, the referee. I don't know. Or the
All
dividing
right.
line. So, I just said that.
All right. Mr. Andre,
Yes, yes.
the reason for your white, sir?
I come with clean hands and pure heart.
That sound like you come with equity.
I don't ever come with any charitable organization to start my business.
Do you need a loan, sir?
um, is you own Green Emerald?
All I'm saying is usually if you need a loan, here's how you do it. You start a company, don't pay any taxes, and lend it out. And that should get you on your way. How that sound?
And then I can file nil.
Yes. How that sound?
Well, let us see if we can set up something just like such, man, because it is very sad what is happening in the country.
All right, that being said, I want to just ask the question really as it is. And there's no secret to what is being asked. And that simply is the Integrity Commission report, is it something that we are to be concerned about legally before we even get to the morally? Any
Yeah,
one of you can answer, and
no,
it's fine.
I've read the report, and I'm going to
Yes.
go over it again tonight. I spent 4.5 hours actually reading it last night. Quite intriguing, quite interesting, but nonetheless, I'm a little bit displeased because I put on my investigators hat, and there are things that should have been done that weren't done, and we'll flesh them out on Saturday. And I didn't like the way the corruption prosecutor went about her business, and it's kind of consistent though, considering what happened last year with the Westcon investigation. And as far as the investigators are concerned,
Hmm.
there's some things that I found, you know, to be deficient. But then I spoke to a friend of mine today who explained a strategy to me. So, you know, I thought it was deficient, but he explained to me that it was strategic. So we shall see. But all in all, interesting reading. I stopped when I got to the point with the many transfers between the companies and all of that. I was fine when they did the four accounts, and when they did the gentleman who the prime minister made head of some housing authority. I was fine with the Barita thing. Um, I was fine with everything up to the transfers between the different companies, and I'm just hoping. Well, I was wondering whether or not they had looked to see if any of the transactions touched the the American banking system, because that would automatically give the FBI jurisdiction to look into the matter. Now, I do know that there was a Citibank account, and it stands to reason that there may be a connection there with the U.S. banking system. But I'll leave it there for now. I've lots and lots of things to talk about. So, I'll yield the floor to Andre.
Uh,
Hmm.
the very fact that the Integrity Commission's report says that it's inconclusive, they can't finalize the report because there's so many missing parts. And those missing parts, they're
Hmm.
arguing that they believe it should be further carried to the Financial Investigative Division. To me, it when I think of the Financial Investigative Division, Mr.
Yes.
Ratty, what jumps out to me is fraud, because if the FID is involved, I've realized the FID has been involved in several investigations in Jamaica, primarily the SSL matter. So if the FID is to be called in, there must be some things being carried through the audit that shows some level of fraud or some level of discontinuum for the people to say that they can't continue.
Right.
So I'm of the view that legally there is more to this that needs to be dealt with. There's more to this that needs to be sorted. And I don't know, but if a leader of a nation can have 28 accounts, that to me borders on the line of money laundering.
No, and I'm gonna stop you right
Oh,
there. People
why?
go, people go vex. I tell you, people go vex with me today, but I tell you, maybe that's why I'm in blue, because I'm here. Adidas here to create. The banking system has evolved so much that you simply open one account and the bank allows you to open as many accounts as you would like in the same institution, and the same applies if you go to another institution. For instance, if you're at Scotiabank, you're allowed to open a savings account, a checking account, a deposit account, another account to manage your affairs, to assist your accountant to make your life easier. That's one start. The next thing is in the absence of the report is showing the money is going in and out, and an in-depth report about on being unable to track the money, I don't think that you can say it's money laundering. And so in defense of the prime minister, I don't like that. Legally, I'm not his lawyer, but if I were, I would be rubbishing. And you can have 100 accounts with nothing in there, broke and hungry, and run around and say I have 100 accounts. I'm just saying, and that's a matter for us. So we need more information. The next thing I'm going to say is the FID. There's no investigation, and they haven't said they're going to do it on 2 days, 3 days fast. Me see little Tom blow and them ready for take off him head. We need to think about that as well. In relation to the bank accounts. Bring something else and we can discuss that. And remember, I'm just being the balance here for the discussion.
I want to know though, if there's any other leader
Yes.
in the world
Yes.
who has that multiple amount of account. It's not a matter of, yeah, you can have it, or nay, you can have it. I am asking if it is a practice of leaders across the world. Can we answer that? Anybody else can take a swipe at it? Because in my view, that level of amount of accounting and all of that look like confusion and chaos being applied.
You know, I would go a step further. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I would ask, like for example, there's one account where he has, I think, 700 and some odd thousand US dollars in. I would ask the question, where did that money come from? You know, even without casting any aspersions or questioning about the 28 accounts, I would say, where did that money come from? Because the whole concept of money laundering is that you have illegal funds that you're trying to legitimize, and so the question goes back to where did the money come? Where did the deposit come from? And that would go to illicit enrichment, because what they would, and I think what they did in this instance is they look and say, well, wait a minute, your income, your liabilities, and your assets, they're not in congruence with what we see in your account. Where did this money come from? And that's where I would start, without going to the 28 accounts. But to answer your question, Andrew, I don't know. I put it this way: of the leaders that have been in the public for criminal or civil matters where bank accounts have been exposed, I've never heard of a single leader with 28 accounts. And I understand what you're saying, Isa, that you can have as many accounts as you can. But to answer your question, no, I've never heard of a leader with 28 accounts. Plus, keep in mind that a lot of the transactions took place during COVID period. What was going on in COVID period? He was trying to revive the economy, keep people off of the streets, so on and so forth, and studying for his PhD.
No, stop that. Don't tell any lie on the prime minister. I never studied for no PhD.
Okay, all right. He was planning to get his PhD. He was planning to get his PhD.
No, in order to get a PhD, you must write a thesis and you must defend it.
Right.
So it's very few people have the aptitude and capacity to defend a thesis. Many persons don't get doctorate because they cannot defend their thesis. So there is something called a professional doctorate, and he's a professional politician, and he has simply gotten a DLP. It sounds like JLP, don't? Or a DPL. It's a different type of degree. It's a doctor of law and something, and policy. No, policy, not philosophy.
Policy,
that's where the difference is. So
why are all these media houses calling him Dr. Holness?
Cause they lie, and them no know, enough of them no education. Okay. And although they don't speak patois, yeah, they can come for me for this because they don't fact check. For instance, I was watching this show. What's it called? Partner Draw TV. And there's The guy is he's very comical, and he put on every now and then he put on him Obi a Poco mania thing. And what's the host name? Rattigan, help me out there. Partner draw guy. Hilarious guy, man. But he fact checks because he has all of these videos, and he was like, PM, is anybody in your government illicit in the illicit is being investigated for illicit? And he was like, no. And that's a lie. If this was the Murray show, the DNA determines that was a lie. So the question now is, I do not think that at the end of the IC's report that there are legal issues to be tried. I'm saying this. They left it where without the information necessary, which he did not provide. So let's separate the issues. Certain things were not provided. So with their investigative capacity, they weren't able to take the case to a prima facie standard to be charged. They're now calling on the FID and the tax people to come and intervene into that. So it simply means that where we are now, it is just a lot of it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth of morality. So legally, is there something that you can blame the Prime Minister for right now as we're talking, having read all of that
Yes.
Cumbersome allegations that
Yes.
steps up against the presumption of innocence?
Yes.
You want to respond to that? Go ahead.
Yes.
All right.
He failed, or he intentionally misled the commission. He provided by omission.
Yes.
He did not account for the 4 accounts that the corruption prosecutor decided not to prosecute him for.
Right.
I believe that there's a legal case to be made, but here's how it's going to be made. And it's found in the Integrity Commission Act of 2017. The commission, because remember, the commission is the one who along with the DI, made a recommendation, right? The commission, and they pass it on to the corruption prosecutor. The commission, in its infinite wisdom, right? It can call upon the DPP to render an opinion. That is law. Right. So and I believe here's why
this is the director of public prosecutions that currently has 2 DPPs or another one.
No, I'm talking about the acting. I'm talking about.
Give me some clarity, because we don't want to confuse the people.
Miss Thompson.
Okay. So he can call upon the acting DPP and not the former DPP.
Exactly, and bring her into the fray. Let her make a decision on that. I'm not going to prosecute, and then you can say, okay, the whole system looks like there's a problem here. Because, and I'll tell you why. Here's why I'd make the argument. If you look at the four accounts, right? The Prime Minister in his in his statements said that he was aware that he was joint on all 4 accounts. And in fact, there is evidence that he transferred funds into some of those accounts. Now, here's what the corruption prosecutor said. On one of the accounts, he said, no, the investigator said that they had evidence that, yes, he was a joint on the account. The Prime Minister said, yes, I was joint on the account. And then the corruption prosecutor said, I can't read the document, therefore I can't prosecute. She actually said that.
Yeah, but to defend the director of corruption prosecution, we don't have time for prosecute little bit of money.
No, but here's the thing. No, it's the principle.
Hold on, let me make my point. Let me make my point. She has so much things to worry about. I bring this little thing where somebody, mama, can I say mama?
Mother.
Okay, somebody's mother. Thank you. I have to be a little bit more exacting. Somebody's mother put them on an account prior to 1975. I didn't even know. Well, at that time in 1975, when you had an account, you had to be a really established person. Because in 1975, established people had bank accounts. Because it wasn't a lot of banks in Jamaica, I don't think. I'm guessing in my mind. So there's no crime with your mother putting you on an account before you were 3 or 5 or something like that.
No, no. But here's the
Yeah.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, the problem is this. The problem is that you are you are responsible for notifying the Integrity Commission on your statutory declaration that you are on an account, whether it's you done it solely or jointly. You are required. It does nothing to do with age. And then when you start push money through that account, you can impute knowledge that yes, you know about this account. And so how is it now you're gonna come and say, well, he didn't even make the argument. He confessed. He said, yes, I'm aware of the account. And yeah, I'm aware I'm on the account. And yes, money pushed through the account. Then the corruption prosecutor said, well, you know what? On one of these accounts, I can't read it. And then on two of them, she said, oh, I can't impute intent to him. And I said, wait a minute, hold on a second now. Hold on a second. What do you mean you can't impute intent to him? The man tell you, yes, I'm aware of the account. Yes, I put money through the account. And then you turn around and say, oh, we can't impute intent that he intentionally did not provide it to the Integrity Commission for the years, for the the years in question. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And not only that, as a prosecutor, you are supposed to make the case and let the judge or let a jury of the person's spirit decide. And she did this before, where she said that, oh, you know what, if the people involved with the Westcon and the other things, not the prime minister, but the others, she said, there's an abuse of process, and therefore I don't want to bring any charges. And I'm like, no, if you have the evidence, bring it. Bring it. And to your point where you said, well, it's just a little bit of money, I know you're joking because that's how corruption starts. And remember, we always talk about, hey, you know what? If the head of the stream dirty, then you can just imagine what down there. And if you decide that, hey, if this is a little bit of money, we can't go after the prime minister for this, then guess what? You shouldn't go after anybody for a little bit of money. If you want rid yourself of corruption, you have to start someplace. And I said, this is a fine place to start, and it's the right time to start.
I think the director of corruption prosecution just think this is a little parish court matter, and with all that the prime minister has to do, it is just unfortunate that they would want to bring him into this. The other persons feel like the PNP keeping a whole press conference, but they bring that famous artist, they bring him on the stage where the greatest people are on the stage. The creme de la creme of the nation was on that stage. How dare they bring that artist, the comet guy?
You mean Adisha
Pew,
Palmer?
pew. Yeah, why for the guy? Yeah, and so the loyalists from the shower rangers are saying, why are you worried about the prime minister's declarations not being certified, and why are you worrying about the little $400,000 when the whole People's National Party brings out Vibes Cartel on their stage for their conference? Jamaica is in a moral crisis. What say you on that?
Didn't the court? I'm just asking you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And asking the public a question.
Uh-oh.
Didn't the court free the man of the charges? Yeah. But equally, if we're going to talk about morality and talk about compass,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of questionable characters on the other side of the aisle who many would argue should not be in representational politics. What do you say about that?
Me? Oh, that's general. Mr. Rattigan, they're
I'm
saying
saying,
your mic is low, they're saying. But go ahead.
I'm
Listen.
saying,
Yeah.
if I recall, there was a politician
Mm-hmm.
who had some accusation with somebody when named Duppy Film. You remember that?
No.
Oh, well, if you recall,
Yes.
there was a politician who was said to was making a attempt
Mm-hmm.
to murder someone,
Mm-hmm.
and the person came out and speak about it publicly.
Right.
There have been accusations of parliamentarians who has done things to molest and all of those things to little children. those
But
accusations.
Jesus loved the little children, so
Hmm.
all the children of the world. But go
There are
ahead.
politicians who have where you put it, them children, baby father,
Mm-hmm.
questionable, and them greed. I even recall
Them
there was
children, baby father, questionable.
a child, one of
Yeah.
the politicians' child,
His
baby
jacket.
father, not meaning is of a questionable character, and they have embraced that person. I remember there was a man who
I
was
like
a
how you say that, but what does questionable character mean? Because I've seen somebody. I don't even want to use the word ugly and dunce, but it speaks for itself. I've seen people just get up and say questionable character, but you have to define it because it goes into the realm of defamatory. So I'm glad you're not calling the name of the person who you're saying, but what does it mean to you?
questionable character.
Yes,
Ask the father of morality. Ask
father
Papa.
or mother.
No,
I'm saying
ask
who at the stadium like them blow.
no.
Oh,
Ask Papa morality, who said people of questionable character was on the PNP stage. Define questionable character. Unfit.
you feel
Questionable.
you feel like okay,
Mhm,
unfit. Oh, unfit. Got you. Yes,
me
but so,
put it.
so see, somebody is saying, but the president of the Senate is Dog Pa's father-in-law, and he was the former attorney to the same national treasure that graced the stage on Sunday. So is this apples and oranges? No, lemon, no, lime and orange, not apples and orange, but you get me.
But I would say though, what if Adija Palmer had taken the road and attended the Jamaica Labour Party conference?
That would never happen. But
Yeah, but
okay,
I'm
go ahead,
saying,
go ahead. You have a
what
better chance. Listen, you stand a better chance of Adija Palmer entering on this platform, and then you hear that they must cancel the Will Rattigan show and the Andre Stevens show because you were seen on a platform with the most famous person in the world right now. How dare you do that? You should be cancel culture should be a part of you.
well, I am saying
Hypothetically, though, go ahead.
if it is
Mm-hmm.
that the gentleman came on that platform November,
Mm-hmm.
would the public outcry of some of our media entities equal the same?
No, I can answer that. No. In
Okay.
fact, in fact, I told you earlier about the one of the political commentators who works for um, Radio Jamaica and television, the RJR Group and Television Jamaica, having done a full criticism about the distasteful behavior. Right after the commercial break, Digicel Rising Stars starts, and the National Treasure is the guest judge,
Mm.
and mum's the word right after that. But what I really want to get at is notice we're speaking about a dancehall icon, national treasure versus members of parliament, prime minister. Which what have you? How do you make where is the comparison? Because it appears to be smoke screens, red herring, and ad hominem attacking the person, deflecting, and switching the argument when the central issue is should
Mhm.
our prime minister, the holder of 28 bank accounts at a time where corruption is high and there appears to be at a minimum
Mm.
can we say this? Because I do not know genuinely. Are we now saying one down, seven to go in the terms of investigations of illicit enrichment? Is he one of the eight? Is that up in the air?
Mm.
Do you see what I'm getting at? Versus,
So you're arguing you want to know who the next seven are.
no, it matters not because I've seen that the entire government, the entire Senate, members of Parliament, they stand behind him 100%. It matters not now.
As a matter of fact, I'm just getting a report that he has commissioned his legal team to start lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read it. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Most Honorable has instructed his attorneys to initiate legal actions against senior members of the PNP who on September 19th,
That's today.
yeah, convened a media conference that made several false and defamatory statements about when he came into the awareness of the Integrity Commission probe concerning illicit enrichment. Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, a member of the JLP Communication Task Force,
Mhm.
confirmed the instructions were given by the Prime Minister and the party leader to his legal team. Should they not take the appropriate actions, lawsuit will be filed against the PNP members who made false statements and without any credible basis defamed the Prime Minister concerning the question of when he came into awareness of the illicit enrichment probe. Senator Henley reiterated that the Prime Minister spoke the truth when he indicated to the media on August 7, 2023, he was not aware of any member of the JLP being written to by the Integrity Commission with an indication that they were under investigation for enrichment. The Prime Minister and party leader takes his reputation seriously and will not allow any member of the PNP to attempt to use false and malicious statements to destroy his character in their desperate bid for political power. The Jamaica Labour Party also restates its concern about the appearance that members of the PNP have unique access to information from the Integrity Commission. The party restates its call for the PNP to indicate how it will address a revelation in a recent newspaper report that at least five of their members, including two of senior officials, are under investigation for illicit enrichment. So the man I make it know say no him legal team plenty a we ma figure so in eyesight.
No, je suis, what parlez-vous français? Not sue me. Leave me out of that. Here's what I'm going to say though. That is semantics, not even legal semantics. The Defamation Act requires you to pedantically set out what is the defamation and to show the absence of any defense. The seminal issue as we're speaking now, and they with that press release had the opportunity. Are any one of them now aware? Have they been written to? And are they aware that they are being investigated? The public wants to know. And even after all of this smoke screen back and forth, I'm asking the question to both of you now: is he or was he investigated for illicit enrichment? Was this an illicit enrichment investigation? And is he one of 8? Can that be answered from the 1 million pages where the trees were killed?
It's not 1 million pages, it's 177 pages.
Mhm.
But he know he was being investigated, Isaac, because based on the timeline that we see, it is about 3 or 4 times the Integrity Commission wrote to him, about the enrichment. It's about 3 to 4 times. So how then could he not have known that he's being investigated? I mean, sir, if he got a letter, the letter must have said, we are now referring this part of XXX to the director of investigation. How then could you say you are not aware? So are you saying then that it came to your office, but your assistant never made you aware that the letters came? Cause I
No.
must that. It would have must been that.
Well, you know who provided that defense one time? Minister Nigel Clark provided that when the Financial Services Commission sent the letter over regarding SSL, and he said he never got the letter, even though there was adequate proof that the letter was delivered by email and by courier. And then remember, he came back and said, "Oh, I spent the weekend looking for it and I found it in a cabinet." Um, it's going to be difficult for him to say that he did not lie to the Jamaican public, because the evidence is clear and uncontroverted that he was notified in no uncertain terms that there was an investigation where he was the subject. Not
Mm.
only that, he was interviewed prior to that letter. He was asked to make submissions prior to that letter. So he knew that he was
Mhm.
under investigation. And then what the Integrity Commission did was later on, they formalized it by sending him a letter and said, okay, now we're letting you know that you are being investigated. Now for illicit enrichment,
But
yes,
even so,
No,
I
he
read
wait, no, before you go, you're saying yes, he was
yes, he was what?
being investigated for illicit enrichment.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
that.
And
Remember, the Integrity Commission even had a meeting with him in his office, you know. So
yes,
how then could he blatantly look at the Jamaican people and said he never know that he was being investigated?
Mm-hmm.
nah, it's nonsense.
No,
Now here is
I don't know. You're going to tell me the IC came to his office and had a meeting with him.
So to be fair to the
hold
prime
on a
minister,
second.
to be fair
This
to
is
the prime minister is not an attorney at law. You see, like in St. Vincent, where the prime minister is an attorney, and in Barbados, the prime minister is an attorney. Our prime minister is not an attorney at law. So they said they were trying to get his declaration certified, and to date, even now as we're speaking, it's not. So can we say sufficiently that somebody told him that he was being investigated for illicit
yes,
enrichment?
yes,
Okay.
yes. The letter. Plus, remember now they interviewed him, like Andre said, they interviewed him, they sat down with him, and they communicated with him via, I think, letter and
So
via
if all
email.
right, put the letters aside.
Mm-hmm.
The very fact I said to Mr. Rattigan that the people them come in your office and have meeting with you. If you weren't aware then, you were aware in that moment.
Plus, don't forget that his attorney was busy arranging the meeting with the Integrity Commission, and his attorney even said to them, "Listen, the dates that you're giving us, those dates are not good. We have to talk to the Prime Minister and get back." And they got back to them and said, "Here's a date that's good." So he knew. He knew. Oh, and the other thing too is this. You know what's
Mm-hmm.
interesting in that report? There's a whole bunch of recommendations being made, but I didn't see one for illicit enrichment. Even though the report speaks to illicit enrichment, I didn't see one for illicit enrichment, and the corruption prosecutor certainly did not make a judgment on that issue. She made a judgment on the four bank accounts, but she didn't go to illicit enrichment. And on the one last question, you notice they went back to like 2016 to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
What about 2023?
That's our next year business.
No, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. So you might, and it was submitted before March 31st of this
Yeah,
year.
but it's due November. I could be wrong, I'm not a political. Yeah,
It wouldn't be filed until later this year.
yeah. I'm
No,
thinking.
no, no. 2023 was
Yeah,
filed in March of this year, March
right.
31st. It
And
was
then
filed.
and then becomes due June, and then would form part of next year.
No, they could look at it right now. They have the authority to look at it right now.
Yeah,
And what
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm
you
saying
know
is
that
that
these organizations are small and they don't have all of the resources to do it all at once.
well, here's where I take issue with that. Not with you, but with because I heard somebody said it. A person said it yesterday, saying that it was an organization in infancy. To paraphrase what she was saying, people must remember that the Integrity Commission is not really a new organization. It is three organizations in one. It's the old Integrity Commission. It's a
Right.
it's a it's an agency against anti-corruption, and there's another one, the Contractor General. What they did, they collapsed those three agencies into one super agency. So the personnel is still there, the mandate is still there. If you go back and you look at the old act, it reflects or the new act reflects what was there before. So and then they've been in existence since 2018.
2017.
2017, the law was passed, but as an agency, they basically took effect 2018. And then if you look at the funding, right? Look at the funding from the first year till now. And you say, look, we're Jamaican taxpayers, they're dumping over $1 billion Jamaican dollars into that organization.
Little bit of money, little bit of money, little bit of money.
Well
They don't
then, well
even have,
then,
they don't, you come on, you're to be fair, you're with the FBI. They don't have the resources. $1 billion.
no, but here's
The
the thing.
man wife alone spend that on one project. Come on, man.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're the executive director, because that's part of your
Yeah.
job to lobby, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the resources, remember there's an oversight committee
Right.
in Parliament, and that is the primary purpose of that organization to
Right.
make sure that you're properly resourced, not to look at your investigations and make comments about them. That's not their province. That's the province of the court. So why is it then that we don't have more money being poured into this organization? Because considering that Jamaica, based on international publications, it's rife with corruption. Why is it we don't have more money going into it? And we have all these fancy speeches saying that yes, we're going to stem corruption.
All right, that's fair. Today, before you respond, today I was looking at Jamaican Twitter, and there was an apology from Dion Jackson Miller in reference to some misstatements about the gag order and how the Integrity Commission operates. Mark Golding would have said that his mandate is to strengthen the Integrity Commission, right? Give them more teeth. While we hear the Prime Minister and the sitting government saying we need to rethink the power that we give to the Integrity Commission, because now we're in this situation where the Prime Minister looks really bad, it looks really bad. What it is now, it is an embarrassing situation without taking sides or pronouncing. I'm talking about the office that he holds, and what it looks like on the world stage is most embarrassing. So how do we treat with that, and how when we put the distractions aside and the false comparisons, as I said, lime versus oranges, how do we treat with that in defense of the office? Because we have the media houses that like to talk about what is distasteful, but are now 3 days later. So we're coming from the conference and how they feel about Jamaica's most popular artists featuring in the conference versus the Prime Minister. And dare to say, one of them said the most, till for lack of the big words that she had used, the most popular Prime Minister is being put in a bad.
Impactful leader.
Quintessential, impactful leader. She knows more about our leader than we do. She sits with him.
But you know what? One part of the report.
No, answer my question.
Me nah entertain.
Right. Go ahead.
The part of the report that kind of sparked me today was the part where they're saying the Prime Minister used some charitable funds. You heard that part? You read that part?
Yeah.
He used charitable funds to start up a business,
No, for the bond.
Explain that.
Yeah, what happened is that they said that, and they said that.
Hold on, you said the bomb, the SSL
bond,
bond.
James Bond.
Bond.
Charitable money.
Okay, got you.
Yes.
There's an issue with that because the bond was, the value of it was, I think, initially 94,000, and they said that US,
right,
60,000 plus came out of his pocket, and 30 plus came from the charitable organization, and they're questioning whether or not you can use a charitable organization fund to purchase a bond in your name. Right? Now what happened is that there was an amendment to a statement from a financial house. And what they're saying now, the bond was actually $60-something thousand, but it's of no moment because it still shows that monies came from him and monies came from the charitable organization. And there's a question concerning that.
But can charity money use like that to start business?
No,
Oh,
no. And let me just add this little piece. I think you mentioned something about international embarrassment or something words to that effect. Look at TV in the chat. I've mentioned about a protest in New York this Saturday because, as most of you know, the Prime Minister is having a town hall meeting in the Bronx this Saturday. I have a ticket. Now, should there be one? I'm not aware of one being planned. I'm not planning any. But there's a question now of him coming to attend UNGA, the UN General Assembly, where he's going to be meeting with all his colleagues from all over the world. Can you imagine the embarrassment of meeting other world leaders when they look and say, well, the man in own anti-corruption agency just put out a damning report about him, and now we have to do them. I mean, it's embarrassing to the core. So I don't know how we're going to get over that one.
Okay.
I want to see how the diaspora responds to that town hall meeting on Saturday.
Which one of the diaspora, the dirty 30 or the clean 30?
Hey, you better stop it now. You better stop.
Baba new dancing, it's called Wiggle Wiggle. Wiggle Wiggle.
As I say, I don't know if the dirty 30 exists anymore, but I want to see how the diaspora on a whole responds this weekend.
How many silver did Judas have?
30.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, but when I look at that part regarding the charitable donation, that is a red flag for me. When I look at the fact, Isaac, that his business partner is a chairman of two of the government's most powerful organizations, which are under the office of the Prime Minister, that raises a major red flag for me.
Conflict of interest.
Don't that wrong, Isaac? Yes or no?
It is wrong. It's a conflict of interest. It shouldn't happen.
So, and it's not just that. They're doing active business. So it's not like they're former business partner. They're doing active business when their companies are filing nil and transferring millions of dollars, Isaac. That within itself, another red flag. Me not talk about no little bit of money, you know, my brothers.
Right.
Talking about there is a transaction one time in Mr. Rattigan. I'll show you a seating report about 72 million, you know, transfer one time, you know.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, it's very, you know, the ordinary business in Jamaica. You are a businessman, Isaac. When if you were to even have say you're going to do that transaction.
Yes, you're correct, you know, because there's a difference between when you go from never running a business in your life and then you're just rich. That is something. But continue.
If you see where I'm coming from. But you know, say that you're doing business in this country. And if I'm going to make you authorize to transfer their money there all at once.
Yeah.
When the company don't have no strong history of, remember the company farming at 2020, you know.
Yeah, but if you're the Prime Minister, you do whatever you want to do.
Oh, sorry. Look like you need to get the office. So we can shut my mouth.
No. I don't want you to start that, because what you need to understand is there's a difference between doing things within the law and doing things that people not like. And I have to go. Let me use Donald Trump for instance. He never paid taxes. He's finding himself in a pickle right now. But if you do things within the law, people can only say it's not right. But there's a difference between the morally improper versus, you know, morally distasteful versus legally, and that's where this conversation flow. Having heard yourself and Mr. Rattigan, I seem to think that, look, people rolling their eyes. I seem to think that it's clear that the conversation that needs to be had and persons with the proper platform is to set out clearly what are the issues that we're having. To be fair, and I'm not taking sides, but I think today one of our greatest legal minds, which is KD, the sheriff himself, would have set out what is wrong with the situation, irrespective of whether you want to talk about law and morality. You see, we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a world where we still operate not as a first world country, but as a little country that is developing, and we need the type of integrity, probity, and trust from the person who sits at the head, to have the international partners not feel that they don't have the confidence because persons have sticky fingers, to say the least. Not that they actually have it, but there's a maxim. I'll call it a maxim. Justice must appear to be done. Yeah, the appearance of justice, because the public is watching, the international interest. They must appear to believe that all is well within the land. And so, for those reasons, it is the office of the prime minister that we ought to be worried about more than the individual that sits in the office. So, if you get the opportunity to sit in the office and you are bringing that office into disrepute, if we should say it, by your individual actions, then you should preserve the sanctity and certainly power of that office, and do
Yeah.
what your predecessor did to preserve the
Respectfully
opportunity,
preserve the office.
preserve the office, and leave.
And if I recall, Isaac and Mr. Rattigan,
Mm-hmm.
when Bruce Golding left,
Mm-hmm.
he left that office because he blatantly told a lie to the country
Mm-hmm.
that he never knew nothing about Manat Phelps and Phillips. Wasn't it so?
Something of that nature, yes.
So if Mr. Golding
Mm-hmm.
respectfully take himself by lying,
Right.
what set apart this one from not being able to take away himself?
You see, what sets it apart is that he's saying that he didn't lie based on the press release that you put out. But we don't have to go into the semantics. The writing is on the wall, and that is why I always say God on time, because people will try to shut you up, put you in lawsuit, where it says defamation, put the smoking screens. But a part of advancing our country is to educate the people so they can make informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, one wonders why, when the time comes for an election, how it is that the people are misguided, because funds are being thrown around and we don't know where the funds are coming from. So when you look at the history behind it, and there are persons, when they had the conversation about the characters of persons who affiliate, respectfully, the very sitting government gave a national honor to somebody who was convicted and deported, and sang at their conference and at their functions. Respectfully, that was Wayne Marshall. And Jamaica accepted it because it came from the Jamaica Labour Party. And he received the national honors before some of the greatest contributors in dancehall and reggae, before Beenie Man and Bounty Killer.
Mm.
Yes?
On that point,
I'm putting that out because there are two different rules which expresses or shows us that there are two different Jamaicas operating at the same time.
A listener just sent me something. He said, "Good
Mhm.
evening, bro. Remind them that a gunman from one order was found in a car registered to Babs Grange, and also gunmen pinned down police in Montego Bay operating from a house that was rented by Dr. Chang." And then, of course, we can add
A dead
Mr.
man
Royal
was
Reed.
found. Oh, okay.
We can also add Mr. Royal Reed, who has done more to destroy the education system in Jamaica than any one person. And he's campaigning. He was interviewed the other day, and he said, "Yeah,
But I thought wasn't a counselor also a part of that case who ran and possibly won her seat? Is it? Well, I don't know. Is that so?
Councillor Kim Brown.
Right. So while we're on that topic, there are persons with convictions and them turn lawyer and all kind of something. And but you see the representation of People's Act only restrict the convictions to election fraud and fraud of that nature, because the interest is to ensure that you're not holding or put your hand in the cookie jar. Because thief never like to see thief with long back. I put that out is because we have to be balancing certain things. We have to balance inclusion. We have to balance rehabilitation. We have to balance reintegration. We want the best for our sons and daughters, regardless of mistakes. But we also don't want to entertain kleptomaniacs and persons who have self-interest and is robbing the country and preventing development for the least among us. One cannot argue with me when I put to the people on this platform, my platform, that it has been a lot for the entire two administrations or two terms. The people have not benefited. So you have,
Well, according to them, the third term will be the people's term.
which is why I'm saying that right now in two mandates, from the lie of the first 100 days, from the second lie about sleeping with your windows and doors open. I tell you, it's God on time. God don't come him saying.
Big
Because I
election,
can't
then
believe,
an
hold on, I
impeachment.
can't believe you can sleep with your windows and doors open, but then we have the issue of you have serious police at your house because of a bomb threat.
But
So that speaks to the lack of safety. But also, there was no ambulance, no fire truck, no technical team with the skills to defuse a bomb. And the only time ever in Jamaica that a bomb went off was at Tropical Plaza when them used to sell helium balloon. You never born yet, Andre, but I'm sure Rattigan knew about it.
But my point is, I said,
1986.
in all of that, the Prime
Just
Minister,
come out the huggies. Yeah.
in all of that, I said to Mr. Rattigan, the Prime Minister slept last night in
We
an
do.
unsafe house.
We do. What?
Prime Minister never evacuated the house yesterday.
Hi, I'm Siri.
Siri, not now.
Siri, the Prime Minister never evacuated the house last night.
No,
No, it's the truth.
slept with who?
Meaning,
Oh.
him sleeping at the place that him says unsafe.
Okay.
Let me ask both of you a question, right?
Yes.
And I'm getting this from people texting me. Andre asked a question or made a comment. He said, "What is the diaspora doing? What's the diaspora plan?" And that led after a conversation about the dirty 30 and the rest. Let me turn around the question and ask both of you. What are the people in Jamaica doing regarding this event? What are the plans, if you know of them? And what should they do? I'm turning the question to you. And what should they do? So what are they doing, if you know, and if you don't know, what should they be doing?
Andre, as my guest, you can start.
What they should be doing is gathering their thousands or hundreds to march on Jamaica House, demanding his resignation for blatantly lying to the Jamaican people. I don't know about you, but I no longer can have confidence in him leading a cabinet, knowing, in fact, that I now have doubt in his I had doubt in his leadership, but there is now a significant sink. The trust deficit is now a issue that many will say, can I trust this man? Can I believe this man? Everything now that the man says is now questionable.
But what do you say to somebody who has said trust? Trust not upon the money when I get when the time come. How do you respond to that?
It said come down to bread and butter. But what about where is the patriotism to one's country to say that why this not look good? I want to say to you, I remember the response of thousands of Jamaicans in 2010, when the entire Jamaica was faced with that international disgrace of blue scolding led administration with the
Right.
blatant lies told during the man
Mm-hmm.
of Phelps and Phillips. I believe
Mm-hmm.
equally looking on, Jamaica's reputation is now questionable because you have a man who lied to his people that there's no investigation happening into his finances. So I'm saying to Jamaica, they ought to stand together and say to him, do the honorable thing, pack up.
All right, Andre, would you be willing, since you have come up with that solution, would you be willing to lead the charge on that? Because here's what it, and the reason I'm asking is this: Jamaicans are frustrated, no doubt. But what I sense is that they have galvanizing moments, but they don't have leading personalities. They don't have somebody that can say, okay, all of us now we're going march and we're going this and we're going that and we're going to. So what I hear is a collection of criticisms. People
Mm-hmm.
criticize, say, yeah, this should be done, that should be done. But then when you look and say, okay, who's going to do it? I don't see anybody do it. Now I think you're such a figure. Would you be willing to start this thing and get it going?
Well, I would respectfully, I wouldn't allow him to do that.
How
As
would you do
as,
it then?
as
Would
is
you do it
apparent.
then?
No, no, I'm not. Here's what the
So
solution.
who going to do it?
I'm gonna say something to you.
Okay.
Between now and the 30th of September, if you have never participated or had no interest in politics, there has to be a rock the vote movement. There has to be that if you are dissatisfied, you don't need to march. We are in the year when all that is required is for you to bring your dip your finger in the ink. The marching is just going to be a distraction. It's going to waste resources. And I know I can tell you this: the police is dissatisfied. Not only the police who is dissatisfied, the nurses are dissatisfied. This isn't a this here, although it straddles the fence of political Dynasty and Falcon Crest and Dallas, if you know what those are, the young and the restless and days of our lives. We must never forget that the power remains within the people. And if you are truly dissatisfied, because we never want to disenfranchise people, there are people who will speak and cannot deny that this prime minister has made serious strides in terms of the development of the country, the modernization of the country. Can never take that away from him. What? Hold,
Respectfully, I
no,
said,
no, 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 no. Hold
no,
on. I'm
no,
saying
no, I
something
said,
to you,
all I do is most of what him
Andre.
putting
Allow me.
forward, or
Listen,
most of what he's advancing, I said, were things that were to be institutionalized from way back as 2015, 14, 16, when the Honorable Portia Simpson, Lucretia Minister, Miller was Prime Minister. Him not inherit nothing new and
but what
different.
I'm saying to you is we are speaking about the people who are faced with a dilemma. The things that they like about him. It is for the opposition. It is for the people on the fences or the people like you to educate the people. A protest simply will not educate the people. And as we have this conversation, I've heard nobody say September 30th is the deadline, and if you don't like what is
Well,
happening,
I have been saying it,
enumerate.
guys.
Well, have you told them how to enumerate?
Of course, I have. Go to the
All right.
electoral division office and
Mm-hmm.
do the process.
Yes.
What more must I tell them? They have up until the 30th of this
But
month.
me can't read and write. What me must carry with me?
Away if you carry again. No, you just
All
say,
right. You see the point I'm talking about?
your
That's why
ID.
I'm putting things into context, because we always make things look difficult and far from the people. We ignore the people who don't necessarily understand and is afraid to say, listen, I'm not so good at the reading and writing because the government has failed me with the education system and they don't really have a good education minister. But me not too bright, so me can't say it. How do you say that to somebody? And all we hear is all of this prime minister that, Vibes Cartel on stage, lawyer, this, that, and what Chief Courier do. And oh, happy birthday to Chief Richard Curry, and big up yourself for your monumental movement for move that you made and speech for indigenous people of this land. Um, yes, I'm all over the place, but I wanted to appreciate that there has to be voter education, and it's sad to say that the time is short. So whilst it is that Mr. Rattigan, in your space, as in the diaspora, where protesting is important and significant for what you have been doing for the last couple of years, so much so that for the last year, so much so that I think our prime minister is going to have to face the diaspora. He's going to have to face them sometime this week or so. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Yes, to
Saturday.
face them weekend.
On the weekend, right?
Saturday.
So he will have to face them, and he the thing is he'll be facing intellectual people. So the best thing to do, and I can tell you, there you see when when you muddy the waters of your life, and I have vast experience of being in the trenches. When you try to elevate from doing wrong, and from facing convictions, and not being in the good graces of society in general, you have to educate yourself. So his elevation to doctor is to rehabilitate in advance what is happening now. It looks bad, and we cannot deny that. I cannot make the petition for any compassion and empathy, because I am guided by the words of the mother of morality, one of the senior members of the Jamaica Labour Party, that says that certain things should not be allowed. And I accepted her position when it says you must step away from leadership, especially when you hold a particular office. And it was just last year in spaces like this, we were having conversations. And I'm not inserting myself in the conversation, but you recall how society felt about holding office. And one must wonder now if you should remove yourself from leadership for quoting dancehall, if it equates to you should remove yourself from leadership for being unable to account for funds in a time where corruption is rampant. Your ministers are before the court. Your Speaker of the House has dimpled and rimpled that office that your wife now sit in, and whether or not this is sustainable. This is not an indictment. This is not a legal issue. This is about the offices that people hold, and not about the people in it. It's kind of like when you go to family court, parents who would have slept together and make children find it difficult to believe that when you go before the court, it is about the best interest of the child, and nobody cares about how you feel with the choices and decisions that you would have made. I don't know if I'm speaking out of myself, but I think that is my view on the matter. Mm-hmm. So your take, guys.
No, let me just say that
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that education is key, because you want an informed populace.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You want people to be informed about the issues, and take them away from being legacy voters where they vote because they live in a neighborhood where everybody votes a certain way, or because their parents are relatives. I agree with you. But I also see the value of people coming out on the streets and getting the message out, because if you don't do that, it gives the leaders a sense that these people are complacent, they're docile, and therefore we can just do whatever we want to do, because they're not gonna make up a noise. And yes, some other people out there like Isaac and Andre and Rattigan and the other folks, they might say things, but the people not really respond. Yeah, it sounds good, but they're not taking any decisive action. And sometimes that is what you need. History is replete with changes that took place simply because people took to the streets. History is replete with that. And so I'm saying there is a place, of course, to educate people. Tell them how to get enumerated. Tell them where to get enumerated. Tell them when to get enumerated. That's fine. Tell them about everything that's going on in the country. Make them aware of it. But I still believe that that shouldn't be the end all be all of it. I think that there's a place for protest.
Right. No, no, I agree. I agree. There's a, but not only a place of process, but a time and place for it.
True.
So what I would say is that remember, and without apology, the political electorate, the political class, the elite class of this country is never affected. It is always the country and the people that are affected by the decisions of the political class. We must not forget that the minute that the political electorate decides that they are not your servants and not prepared to listen to your needs, then it is at that point that there is a disconnect. I don't see how I could have voted for you and been a part of the process, whether my team win or my team lose. But I am a voting member of society, and I see where these things are happening, and I have to look at it. If I were a packer at one of these companies, distribution companies, and a tin of mackerel missing, and I, for some strange reason, it find out it they are my mother yard. This don't have to go into the court. It is sufficient for HR to fire you. It is sufficient for HR to make the move to have you removed. And so this thing politically, where quickly the entire parliament and senate, because who is the majority, says they have full confidence, is because the law sufficiently states that a motion can be moved for no confidence. The prime minister's power is not unlimited, and so there is an indictment on the people who sit with him, who have no problem that, like I said, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. And if there's an appearance of dirt and filth and nastiness, you preserve your individual integrity for your constituents and say, I cannot continue to sit with somebody at this time. And we have leaders that taught us. We when the Speaker of the House was confronted with a similar situation, she resigned. So we know that there are times when you have to step away, and when you do so, it doesn't mean that you can't come back. When they had is he the agricultural minister? He breached the Disaster Risk Management Act, or so, when he
Flood.
was sipping Hennessy and Alizé and having nice liquor party when we were inside and couldn't go out because we were the plebs of society. He wasn't charged with it because the then DPP didn't see it fit, or however it is, and then he was put to the back bench, and then he re-emerged and he got a ministry for himself. So there is a process. It's called the mother of morality process, where you step away from time to time, and it cannot be that there's nobody else who can fill the gap in the meantime. So if we are preserving the office, that is one of the things that we have to look at. And this is not a green versus orange situation. This is a preservation of the office that he holds. It is not his office solely, but the office of the sons and daughters of this country, who also too can sit in the office, albeit we now know that you don't have to have a doctorate. You can go and sit in there and then get one. It can be done. So we have learned from the prime minister in that regard.
But how do you make that
But where do
argument?
we go from? Where do we really go from here, though?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we really go from here? Will this be yet another, what do you call it, 9-day wonder in
Mm-mm,
the country, and we just move on?
mm-mm.
Because I've not heard a word from the PSOJ. I've not heard a word from the churches. I've not heard any word coming much from much civil society groups. So if there is not a spark, how then do we move on?
Let me answer that. First, let me just say to I am Margaret. She said I must change my background. In the words of my favorite minister, that will never happen. Because every time I walk in this room and I look at that background, I get so much inspiration from it because that is where I came from. And I will never forget it. I don't want to put up a shiny background and pretend as if, well, background means a lot.
Yeah,
Ask me what.
are you attacking my background? Because I can
No,
tell
I'm
you
not
this
attacking
right
your back.
now. My
No, no,
father
no.
came from the ghetto, and I found out on the internet that possibly my mother came from the ghetto. So I'm sufficiently
Possibly.
a
I
ghetto
know
boy.
where your mother came from. I know where your
So
mother came from.
I'm just telling you, and I'm proud of
No,
what. Notwithstanding,
I'm not attacking your
I am
background.
proud of my parents
Listen to me.
because them is
No,
not a thief.
guys,
I am
I'm not
proud
attacking.
of myself because nobody can call me a
Guys,
thief.
let me tell you. I'm not attacking.
Notwithstanding, so I'm defending myself. I feel attacked.
I'm not attacking your background. I'm defending my background. But listen, here's the thing. Andrew asked a question. Where do we go from here? Right?
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you from my corner of the diaspora, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't pretend to speak for the entire diaspora, just my little corner of it, the
Mm-hmm.
active, dynamic part of it.
Right.
I have been in touch, Andre, with people
Mm-hmm.
from some of the organizations that you just mentioned, and there are plans afoot to do certain things. Now, one of the things that we've realized is that people are genuinely fearful in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis, and there are people with brilliant ideas, outstanding strategies. They want to do things, but they're genuinely fearful. And
Right.
so what they're looking beyond the shores of Jamaica, and they're saying, "What can you guys do?" And I'm proud to tell you that I'm working with some of the groups in Jamaica, and there are some things that we're planning to do, and you will
Mm-hmm.
see the results shortly. One of them I can tell you is that we're looking um, we're looking to work with a human rights group, not the ones that just put out reports and the government is not accountable to them. We're talking about people who um, they have their finger on the pulse of charity. When things have to come to Jamaica, they have a say so in what will come, what won't come, and the government. Not only that, but the government has to respond, must respond to some of these groups. So from my corner of the diaspora, that is what we're working on. We're working on to apply the pressure from here, not just inform our people, but to get out and actually do things that will hold government accountable. So if we can get a similar response from Jamaica, I think that we're well on our way. And like I've said to people time and time again, I don't care who's in power. All I care about the people of Jamaica. As long as the people are taken care of, I'm fine. If they're not taken care of, then I will be there to fight the battle for them and with them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I appreciate that position, and that's really where we are at an impasse. All right.
Me,
We are truly at an impasse right now, and
for
maybe I
me,
shouldn't say that. We're at a crossroads.
yeah,
We're
we're at a crossroad, but for me, I
yes.
think I do a lot each day for this country. But how I would respond is
Mm-hmm.
if I see people responding. If I
Right.
see people doing things, then I surely will come on board. But if I don't see myself being the one who going to be the
Mhm.
next Sam Sharp or the Paul Bogle to start it. I think
Mhm.
I have risen a nation more than 2 years now to spark. So once the foot soldiers say, Mr. Stevens, we're going to, I will join, but I'm not going to be the convener.
Let me just make one quick comment about the background. It's funny, as most of you know, I'm a practicing attorney, and this is the background I use when I do my conferences, and it's always a talking point. The attorneys always
Mhm.
ask me, what's that behind you, and I said that's where I came from. And essentially, that's the end of the conversation. You know, they respect it. They have no choice because I'm not taking it down. So no disrespect to who said it. No disrespect to I am Margaret. I understand, you know, why you ask, but to answer you, no, I'm not going to move it. Andre, regarding, you know, waiting, because I know you've done a lot, and I know you continue to do a lot, and so yeah, somebody else needs to take up the mantle, because it's not enough just to provide information. We need some action, and again, let me say that when I say action, I'm talking about legitimate action, not talking about anything, you know, illegal, anything violent. I'm not talking about that. The Constitution and the Public Order Act and several other acts, they provide mechanisms through which you can legitimately question your government. And I think that we need to employ those mechanisms now more so than ever, because people are suffering. I mean, I hear the calls and the cries every day. People are
Right.
literally suffering in Jamaica. And then when you look and see your leader have 28 accounts, more accounts than a lot of firms in Jamaica, a lot of businesses. And you see tears, and you see the movement of money.
Maybe their client's account.
What?
Yes. There
Maybe
wasn't
the
there
what?
wasn't there a line in the I can't really read and write, but there was a line in my perusal where it says that there was money and you see SSL and then it just bolt gone somewhere.
Mhm.
It just show up in the report in 9.58 seconds and disappear. Me stop
Yes.
read from this account. I'm so bad at math. So maybe their client's account.
No, well, I can tell you after reading the report, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going over it again, they're not clients' accounts. I can tell you that. And if they're clients' accounts, who's the client?
Who's the client? Caller. I just want to tell you right now, you're the winner. You're the winner. 9.58 seconds. Your gold medal will be coming to you. All you have to do is deposit $72 million in one of my accounts, them. I don't know.
No, but here's the thing, you know, what this prime minister, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he's so bent, and this is just my personal opinion, he's just so bent on maintaining power, that
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to give up easily. And with that kind of position, you know, where he's not going to yield, he's not going to capitulate, he's not going to say, okay, all right, fine, I'll wave the white flag. You have
Mm-hmm.
to, you have to apply the pressure. That's the only way you're going to change. You have to apply the pressure. And unless you do that, be prepared for him to be wrong and strong. Be prepared for him to be wrong and strong. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if this report is not an indictment of the wishy-washy way he's been running the government, and the disdain he's had for all of Jamaica. I mean, the man come out and flat out lie and just continue, and then had the nerve to come into parliament and come into parliament and then make a speech saying, I work hard for everything. I come from a two-room board house in a Cumberland Road, blah 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 blah. Nobody don't want to hear that, because this is the same prime minister who said the mandate of the JLP is to ensure that people move from the poor class to the working class and middle class. I remember him saying that. Ask the poor people in Jamaica, particularly those making, and maybe all of them making minimum wage, but ask them, how many of you have moved from your station when he mentioned that to a different station in life? No.
I gonna, you know who I'm gonna ask you to ask that? I want all of you to pause, Andre.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying attention. But
No, I get another press release, ISAT. That's why, man.
the best person to ask is Otis Williams. He is a die-hearted laborite who is very uncomfortable with this conversation. He has moved his lot in life so much so that he has a cell phone or a computer that types excellent. The autocorrect on his messages are pristine. His effort and need to defend this situation, we should pause. And I should ask people that you don't have to donate on Context Matters, but to find Otis wherever he is and donate to him, because his lot in life is minimum. and he needs to elevate out of the political space so he can have an independent mind and be able to flourish and strive as a son or daughter or person or whatever pronouns he uses in life, and know that there's greater out there. So people in the comments, please show Otis Williams some love. All right? Kill him with kindness. For if Jesus was here, they would heal him of his OCD and illness and obsession to defend that which is not moral. All right? So just remember that, and please respond with kindness and don't descend into the arena of the trenches to which he exists. It is the current state of the country by the embarrassment of this report at all levels. So just remember that. No, I will not block him because freedom of expression is a mandate that I believe in. You want to share the
Oh,
report? No, go
we
ahead.
get a King's Counsel,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Georgia Gibson Henlin, King's Counsel.
Mm-hmm.
We issued a statement on the instruction of our client, Dr. the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Integrity Commission's dated the 30th of August 23rd, 2023, states that on the 18th, 2023, a letter dispatched to Holness attorney conveying Section 14.5 CPA Judge Rule notice and issues questions to be explored in the interview. We further confirm that prior correspondence to our clients and to us had the subject statutory declaration of asset, liabilities, and income. In some of the letter, there is a minor variation to add our client's name. None of these communications referred to Section 14, subsection 5 of the word illicit enrichment. For completeness of timeline is as follows. The letter dated April 26th, our client received a letter from the Director of Information and Complaints advising him that his statutory declarations were referred for investigation pursuant to Sections 32 and 42 of the Integrity Commission Act. He was further advised that the Director of Investigation would be in touch with him. On the 5th
Hey, stop right there. Stop right there. Whilst it is that not on context matters, the learned King Council did not pay for this platform and will get no audience here. And whilst it is, I guarantee you, I am getting none of that retainer money, and big money is running around right now in this circus that is called the Integrity Report. It will not happen on context matters. They can take that explanation because it could have been given when they were shoving things down the throat of the Integrity Commission and gagging them. And now you want to explain after the report is out? Not on context matters. Back to Otis. Otis, you have to have proper papers for come commit your voter fraud. You don't even live in Jamaica, but you have fly down, come vote. Make you ever come to Jamaica, come try vote. You are going to go to prison. Personally, I'm going to look and find out any constituency you vote in. You don't live in Jamaica. You're a member of the diaspora, and if you try vote, you're a criminal. You! Yes. Everybody on the lookout for Otis Williams. And they're going to put every voting station, we're going to say, look out for Otis Williams because he don't live here. All right. Remember me telling you that. Anyway, yes, Mr. Andre, you see them out in numbers. Yes. I wonder if I can get some other money there and get in at the dance. Yes. Anyway, let me leave that alone. So this was Context Matters. You guys were amazing. This was the pre-trial hearing. And as we can see, the defense paperwork, we know what side Andre is on, as he's giving us disclosure, which is a continuing act. And the disclosures are coming in from the lawyers of the people. And lawsuits are saying they're going to be filed, and there's a proper forum and medium to disseminate that information. All right? So there we go. People, on Reggae Global Radio. I want to say thank you so much for joining Context Matters. It was a pleasure to reunite the Friday night vibe with Ratigan and Andre Panda Draw TV, Dep on Context Matters. I would do this every week if I had my way, because this is the type of intellectual discourse that don't include bad mind, corruption. All we need now is our super chat, so Andre can get him kitchen. Cause a long time ever asked him to get.
And hold on, let me before
Yeah,
we go, let me just say this. That let me
go
just,
ahead.
I think no, let me just say this that people there have been lots of lies, lots of rumors spoken, discussed about me and a bunch of people
Mm-hmm.
recently. And just for the record, Andre and I, we have never exchanged a bad word. We have never exchanged a bad word. And for those of only here, I've heard some of the silliness that's been said, and I just said, let me just ignore ignorance because
Mm-hmm.
I love Andre like a brother. Him call me father affectionately, and I call him my son affectionately, right? And I think, how old are you, Andre? If you don't mind me asking.
33 next week.
All right, see, I have children as old as Andre, right? And I just want to say, well, actually, a child. I shouldn't say children, but I just want to say that Andre and I, we don't. There's no bad blood between us. There was never any bad blood between us, and I soundly reject any notion that Andre and I that there is some kind of spat or some kind of difference between us. I don't listen to what people say about Andre because I take Andre at face value. If I have something and I want to talk to Andre, I talk to Andre about it. I don't have to listen to what other people say. And as we have found out, we have some people out there who are just bent and just destroying people. But I want them to cancel. Them can't destroy me because if the FBI never do it in a 16 years, then them can't come do it. So with that said, Andre, big up yourself here. So I love you
Let's
like
go,
life.
bless up, everybody. Remember, see you at 8 o'clock.
Tomorrow is Friday. Friday might might nice like this tomorrow, because tomorrow would be case management hearing. So while
Oh,
on
today was pre-trial. Today was pre-trial.
this was the pre-trial. Tomorrow is case management hearing. And if you know anything about the Will Rattigan show, that is the trial. Week one.
Tomorrow, the case management.
Tomorrow the case management. So bring all on the press release, them and all on the spin. Put submit in the defense, file it in the context matters registry, and I will definitely disseminate it anywhere it needs to be. Don't ever forget that. All right.
Bless up, guys. And see you tonight at 8 o'clock.
All right. Thanks you guys so much for
Bye-bye.
joining. Later. All right, people. So I must tell you, it was a very entertaining conversation. And just to put things into context as we leave, is remember, voting is your power. It is your right. And every time you vote, you must vote for not only your personal interest in it, but for the greater good, for your country. But if you are where you are in your life, your lot in life, and you haven't seen an improvement, you can't buy bread, you can't buy food, you can't go off foreign. You're like KK with the AK. She get a green slip and she ball out, because apparently you need to get the white one to get the visa. If you're like people who you're just not making it where you need to be in life, maybe voter loyalty is something that you should think about. But more than anything, the best way to teach people is to do it with action. And I think action rhyme with Buchanan. But I'm a man of action anyway. And I think also that if it is that you want to see the impossible done in terms of change, they always tell you that you can't do it, and they always shut you up and all of that. But usually the way to respond to that is to do something, and know that nothing done, or anything done that is not ordained by God, you will never um achieve. And while they say is action, not a bag of mouth, sometimes pine action is needed, because some people mouth need for wash out. But anyway, today was a very interesting context matters, and I really appreciate everybody for joining. And I promise you, it only get better. This is a movement, this is a vibe, and change is gonna come. Never ever forget that. In a positive way. And it is God who is at work. So man can spin it however they want, but what God wants you to see, you will. Take care.
It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Like growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving, moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep